Once upon a time in a busy city lived a man who was famous throughout the land for his wisdom and knowledge. People from far and wide would come to him with all sorts of questions, seeking his advice on matters of love, life, and everything in between. The man's name was Wise One, and he had a unique way of helping people. He would listen to their problems and then tell them a story. It wasn't just any story. It was a story that had a deeper meaning, a story that could change the way they thought about their problems. And almost always, these stories were about animals. One day, a young man came to Wise One. He was troubled by something, but he didn't know how to explain it. All he could say was, "I feel like my mind is so full. There are so many thoughts and emotions inside of me that I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm drowning in my own thoughts." Wise One looked at him and smiled. He knew exactly what to do. He told the young man to sit down and then began to tell him a story. In the heart of a bustling city, nestled amidst the towering skyscrapers and the endless honking of cars, there lived an old man known simply as the gardener. Unlike others in the city, the gardener found solace and joy in his humble abode, a small house with a beautiful garden. The gardener took great pride in his garden. Every morning he would wake up before sunrise and tend to his plants, watering them, pruning them, and whispering words of encouragement. His garden was his sanctuary, a place where he could escape the noise and chaos of the city and find peace. One day, a young woman visited the gardener. She was a writer who had come to the city in search of inspiration, but instead of finding creativity, she had become overwhelmed by the city's noise and pollution. When she saw the gardener's peaceful oasis, she asked him the secret to his serenity. The gardener smiled and said, "My dear, the secret lies in my garden. Would you like to see it?" The young woman eagerly agreed. The gardener led her to a corner of the garden and pointed to a small pot filled with soil and a single seed. "This tiny seed holds the secret to my peace," he said. The young woman looked at the seed with confusion. She couldn't understand how something so small could hold such power. The gardener, noticing her bewilderment, explained, "This seed has the potential to grow into a magnificent oak tree, strong and tall, reaching towards the heavens. But right now, it is just a tiny seed. Just like this seed, our minds are filled with countless thoughts, worries, and dreams. If we allow them to grow unchecked, they will consume us, just as a weed can choke a plant. But if we tend to them carefully, watering the good thoughts and pruning away the bad ones, we can keep our minds clear and focused." The young woman pondered the gardener's words. She realized that her cluttered mind was much like a garden overgrown with weeds. She had allowed her thoughts to grow wild and had lost sight of the beauty that could have been. Inspired by the gardener's wisdom, she thanked him for his guidance and went back to her home. From that day forward, she made it a point to take care of her garden, tending to each plant with love and attention. And as the garden grew, so did her peace of mind. She learned to identify the weeds in her mind and to pull them out before they could take root. She watered her good thoughts, allowing them to flourish and grow. Slowly but surely, her mind became a tranquil oasis, just like the gardener's. When Wise One finished the story, the young man sat in silence for a moment, thinking about what the gardener had told him. He realized that his mind was like a garden that needed tending. He had been letting his thoughts and emotions grow wild, and they had become a tangled mess. He felt like he was suffocating under the weight of his own mind. He looked at Wise One and asked, "But how can I take care of my mind? How can I get rid of all these negative thoughts and emotions?" Wise One smiled and said, "You already have the answer within you. You just need to find it." He pointed to the young man's chest and said, "Look inside of you. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to control your thoughts and emotions." The young man hesitated, but he knew that Wise One was right. He needed to look inside himself to find the answers. So he closed his eyes and tried to focus on his breathing. He felt a sense of calm wash over him, and he was able to let go of some of his worries. When he opened his eyes, he looked at Wise One with gratitude and said, "Thank you for helping me. I feel so much lighter now." Wise One nodded and said, "You're welcome. Remember, your mind is like a garden. Tend to it with care and watch it grow." The young man took Wise One's advice to heart. He began to practice meditation and mindfulness every day. He learned to take care of himself and to listen to his body and mind. As he continued to work on himself, he noticed that his life began to change for the better. He was more focused and motivated than ever before. He was able to achieve his goals and dreams, and he never forgot the lessons he had learned from the gardener. From that day on, the young man became known throughout the land as the waterer, because he went around the world watering people's minds with the message of peace and tranquility. Wherever he went, he shared the story of the gardener and the oak tree, reminding people to take care of their thoughts and emotions, because they held the key to their happiness. And so the legacy of the gardener continued on through the waterer, bringing hope and serenity to all who heard his message. Now here's the thing, we all have stuff going on in our heads, right? It can be hard to keep track of all the different thoughts and feelings we're having. Sometimes it feels like there are too many thoughts, and other times it feels like there are too few. But here's the thing, there's actually only one kind of mind, and it doesn't matter how many thoughts we have or how few. What matters is how we deal with them. When we start to pay attention to our thoughts, we begin to realize that they're not always helpful. Sometimes they make us feel bad about ourselves, or they make us worry about the future. Other times, they can make us feel really good about ourselves. But the truth is, we can't control our thoughts. They just happen. It's like the weather outside. We can't control the weather, but we can control how we react to it. Same thing with our thoughts. We can't control what they are, but we can control how we react to them. If we let our negative thoughts control us, they will eventually take over our minds. But if we learn to control our reactions, we can keep our minds free. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to become aware of our thoughts. We need to start paying attention to them and to how they make us feel. Once we become aware of our thoughts, we need to start challenging them. We need to ask ourselves whether they're really true or whether they're just making us feel bad. Finally, we need to start controlling our reactions. We need to learn how to let go of our thoughts and to focus on the present moment. This is the only way to free our minds from the constant chatter. And once we do, we'll be able to enjoy life much more fully. So remember, your mind is like a garden that needs tending. Pay attention to your thoughts, challenge them, and control your reactions. And when you do, you'll find that your mind is much lighter and your life is much happier. Well, friends, that's the end of today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Also, don't forget to share your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. We would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching and see you next time.